What does this aquatic life have in common with this lady? A lot. Animals have been faking other animals in nature forever. I'm going to share what two of nature's greatest mimickers, the mimic octopus and fangbletty, teach us about Theranos and other frauds. By the end, you'll have a finer imposter detector and a better idea of how to become an intelligent fanatic yourself. What is mimicry? It's an adaptive signal design in which individuals benefit from imitating the signals of other species. Benefits of mimicry include gaining protection from predators, increased access to food, and reproductive advantages. There are costs too for all involved. However, the mimicker generally profits the most by posing to be something it isn't. Nature has hundreds, if not thousands, of mimickers. Much can be learned from all, but two stand out. The fangbletty looks like this, but when in the presence of a blue streak cleaner wrasse, it's hard to tell the two apart. The wrasse is a cleaner fish. That means other fish, called client fish, allow the wrasse to eat parasites and dead skin from their bodies. Some client fish allow the wrasse to venture inside their bodies to hunt these parasites. It's a win-win. The wrasse gets food, the client fish keeps clean. The fangbletty even mimics the wrasse's dance. Young client fish are often fooled by the fangbletty, who mistakenly let their guard down for a cleaning. Once in close proximity, the fangbletty bites the client fish, tearing off a piece of its fin before fleeing. The fangbletty wins, while the client fish and wrasse lose. Here is an even better imposter. This looks like a normal octopus, but it's not. It can fool possible predators or prey into thinking it is another species. It does this by changing its color, shape, size, movement, and behavior. Surprisingly, the octopus chooses an animal to mimic based on the types of predators that it has observed in the past. For example, the mimic only acts like a deadly sea snake when confronted by a territorial damselfish, which are preyed upon by sea snakes. If jellyfish are commonly found in the area, a mimic octopus might choose to impersonate the motions of a jellyfish. Most octopus predators avoid jellyfish. Or if trying to fool prey, the mimic octopus might turn itself into a coral reef. Multiple mimics make this octopus harder for fish to spot, but the abbreviated nature of the mimic octopus makes it obvious. So, this begs the following questions. Which founder is fake? Which investor is a fangbletty? And which leader is a mimic octopus? As I've said before, one of the most valuable investment skills is learning to identify super talented people before everyone else. It is important, knowable, and overlooked by most. But with a limited track record, how do you spot the imposters from the real deal? And how do you do it without having to experience it firsthand? It comes down to copying versus stealing. Leonardo da Vinci described two types of artists: those who invent and interpret between nature and man, and those who recite and trumpet the works of others. The fangbletty and the mimic octopus copy. They can look and act exactly like other species, yet they are nothing more than an image in a mirror. Human imposters too confuse people because they can sound, look, and act exactly like a true master. Elizabeth Holmes mimicked Steve Jobs while leading Theranos. Holmes dubbed her products the iPod of healthcare and nicknamed one system the 4S, an obvious reference to the iPhone. Holmes wore the same black turtleneck as Jobs. She imitated Jobs' management. Theranos employees said they could pinpoint which chapter of Jobs' biography she was on based on which period of Jobs' career she was impersonating. Michael W. Lamb founded Wealth Monitor's mutual fund in 1986. He mimicked the trades of the richest power investors in America. Over the first 3 years, he lost 30% while the corporate raiders made big bucks. Lamb's mutual fund eventually went bust. Sam Hinkie, previous GM of the NBA 76ers, nicknamed his campaign The Process. He imitated Billy Beane in turning around the 76ers. Hinkie talked about the long term and mimicked many other masters, but he failed. Hinkie resigned after an atrocious record of 51 wins, 213 losses, a 19% winning average. His data-driven approach was that players were assets as opposed to people, and the real game was being played by front offices. Eddie Lampert imitated Jack Welch reinventing General Electric in the 1990s and looked to recreate a similar culture at Sears. His earliest letters to investors sounded like Warren Buffett's letters. Key terms were per share value, culture, people, decentralization, incentives, and capital allocation. Lampert had phenomenal success as a hedge fund manager, but he duped many people. Sears went bankrupt in 2018, yet Lampert made out with billions. From our examples, 3 key themes arise. First, at no point does an imposter seek to add their own unique style. Like the mimic octopus, they carefully observe whom is the best performers in their area. Then they proceed to fanatically impersonate these people because that is the fastest way to get money. Seeking popular acclaim is their true motive. Mere copying creates nothing new or innovative. Second, all were transactional. Imposters are lured to the dark side. They don't think in terms of humanity. They are living in terms of a system not used for mutually beneficial human purposes, but for their own personal gain. Like the fang blenny or mimic octopus, their ruse only works long enough to escape or to get one more meal. Never does it last. Third, all abbreviated their model. Imposters summarize, trumpet, and boil down greatness to bald works fit only for impatient minds. True masters go for deep fluency, which takes time and work. From there, intelligent fanatics can re-innovate what has come before them. Something new is created, true value is unlocked for the masses. How do these imposters fit in the oft-repeated artists don't copy, they steal? Intelligent fanatics steal not for popular appeal, but for education. Impersonating is the fastest way to becoming a conscious participant in their own cultural context. You can only come up with something new and worthwhile once you accept that you're working within the context of everyone before you. But great results are only reserved for those who elevate the craft with something new and worthwhile. Next time you evaluate a founder, investor, or anyone, ask yourself, are they a mimic octopus or fang blenny? There's actually a better mimicking animal to model if you want to gain mastery. Intelligent Fanatic members have access to that model study and many more. Included are in-depth looks at Elizabeth Holmes and Eddie Lampert. See the description below for the links.